Hi guys, welcome back to my channel and this next episode of While I Was Out. This is a series where I talk about any eyeshadow looks that I was able to do but wasn't able to film. This look will be included in today's video as well as I think 7 others. If you really like eyeshadow, you found a good channel for it. I am a homeschooling stay-at-home mom. I really love playing with colorful eyeshadow and I do upload several videos every week. I hope you like what you see and you consider subscribing before you go. Before I forget, the playlist for this series is linked down below in the description box along with a few other playlists that I hope you'll enjoy, and I'm going to number these looks so that you can more easily tell me which ones you like best. Let's talk first about look number 1. In this look, I used the Quintessence palette from Sydney Grace, and I paired it with Plain Jane from Adept Cosmetics. I got some really great sparkle in this look. I also used a Crystal Crush from ColourPop in my waterline, which is like a rich pool blue, and I used black in my waterline as well. I used the ColourPop Wine Knot eyeliner, which is like a deep burgundy wine sort of color. It's pretty old, but surprisingly, it still works. And then on my lips, I'm wearing a NYX Butter Gloss. I think this is the shade Red Velvet, but I forgot to write it down. For this look, I wanted the cool mattes. I mixed berry and gray for the crease. Then I used berry in the outer corner, and I used black to deepen it. There's sort of a brownish shimmer in the Adept palette, and then I also used like a pinky mauve shimmer from the Sydney Grace palette over the rest of the lid space. So much sparkle. On my lower lash line, I used the teal shimmer from the Quintessence palette in my outer half of the lower lash line, and then on the inner half, I used the blue shimmer from the Adept palette and overlapped them a little bit. This look was so pretty. I just loved not only the way that they all sparkled together, as I said, but I also love the contrast. Like berry just feels like a warm color to me, but you can have cool or warm toned berries, and I thought that it was fun to pair that shadow with the cool tones of the gray and the blue. It was really pretty. For look number 2, I used the quad that my sister bought me for my birthday. I can card that video above for you. She got me a custom MAC quad. I took this quad and I paired it with Plain Jane. And then in my waterline, I used the ColourPop shade Big Splash, which is a lighter blue and also black. And I put the shade Hot Spark from ColourPop lip oils on my lips. I also remembered to use my palette pull-in for this look. So for the look itself, I actually used the orangey shadow in the quad, which is actually more of a satin or shimmer shadow. I used it like a matte. And then the brown matte from the Child palette, which is my palette pull-in, I used those for my crease work. They did work nicely together. The orange shadow from the MAC quad wasn't super like metallic or smooth or creamy. It's a nice formula, but it didn't behave like some other shimmers I have in my collection, so I was able to finagle it a little bit and work it as though I would work a matte. I added to this look 2 shimmers from the Adept Plain Jane palette, and again, I was blown away by the sparkle. I always am. They are so reflective. That formula is incredible. This is possibly the best wing that I have done to date. I have the Moira Micro Tip eyeliner pen, marker, pencil, whatever it is. I have that. A friend gave it to me, and I'm really enjoying it because it is so easy to do a good wing. I know that I'm 2 years in, so I've had more practice than somebody just jumping into it. My wings are still not remarkable, but they're better than they ever have been, and I really think that having that tool makes a big difference for me. For look number 3, I used the Strawberry Feels palette from Jaclyn Hill Cosmetics. In my waterline, I used a ColourPop. I think it's the shade Bay Breeze, but the lettering has worn off. Pretty sure it's Bay Breeze. And then I used the ColourPop Glowing Lip in the shade Red Hot, and I topped it with the lip oil in the shade Hay. I really kept it simple for this look. I was going to spend the entire day out in the sun and I didn't want anything melting. We've been having a heat wave here well over 100 degrees every day, so I just wanted this look to be a little bit of color, something that I could rely upon but not have to maintain. I don't usually have that problem with my eyeshadow looks. I just wanted this day to be simple. I do love these tones on myself, the more harvest leaning pinks. I think they're very flattering on my skin tone, and I like that they're not, they're not Barbie. Is anybody else so tired of the Barbie craze? I don't understand it. And I did grow up with Barbies, but I don't get it. I'm just so tired of it. And the pink everywhere. Let's be done. Can we be done? Anyway, I like these tones of pink, more harvest or red or berry leaning pinks. And this look, this palette is just, it's expected. It gives me this. It's nothing remarkable or highly impressive. It's reliable, if not long lasting. Let's talk about today's eyeshadow look. For this, I used the Sydney Grace Tropicolor palette and the Sydney Grace Quintessence palette. I hadn't yet used those together, and I just wanted to be all Sydney Grace today. I have the ColourPop Creme Gel Liner Big Splash in my waterline, and on my lips, I'm wearing the ColourPop Glowing Lip in the shade Candy Kisses, and then I topped it with Hot Spark from their lip oil collection. I am always amazed by the quality of the Sydney Grace shadows. At this point, I think it would be fair to say that Sydney Grace has my favorite formula. I think that's significant. Oud & Zai is still probably my favorite brand if we're talking about formula and packaging and color stories, but Sydney Grace, I think their formula is a little bit better. A friend of mine loves Sydney Grace, and I heard her talking for a while, just raving about the brand. Once I finally tried them, I got it. I mean, oh my goodness, these shadows they are so easy to work with. They're smooth, they're pigmented, they're very blendable. I mean, I had a little bit of a harsh line over here. As I was putting things away, I grabbed a random brush and I went boom, 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 and it was done. Blended out beautifully. They're so easy to work with. I think the payoff is beautiful. I think the final result is very chic. It's very refined. It is such a joy to work with the Sydney Grace formula. And then the shimmers are not your traditional shimmer. They are to the next level. They are pigmented. They're very creamy. They work super well with your fingers. They're so smooth. They're just buttery soft, and they give amazing sparkle. I'm surprised that most of the times I've used this Tropicolor palette, I have dipped into the more mustard brown tones. I did do a video where I went all blue actually, but aside from that, when I've used it off camera, I've used the mustard tone a lot more than I expected to, which really does surprise me. I really need to dive into the other colors because the palette's amazing. For look number 5, I used the Geodes palette from What's Up Beauty. In my waterline, I used Plum Smash from ColourPop, and on my lips, I'm wearing the NYX Butter Gloss in the shade Cranberry Pie. I'm always impressed as well by this palette. The looks are very soft, but still dynamic and sparkly. The formula is fantastic. It is really very good. If you have the Geodes or the Desert Monsoon palette, I'm sure Desert Monsoon is just as good as Geodes, but I've been quite pleased by the quality of the What's Up Beauty formula. This palette's very easy to work with. It has some nice shades, interesting colors, beautiful performance. It's really a delight. Here is look number 6 using the Child palette from ColourPop, and I paired it with the Whistler Snow Lodge from Nomad. In my waterline, I used the shade Aglow from ColourPop, and on my lips, I'm wearing the NYX Butter Gloss in the shade Cinnamon Roll. Okay, so the Child palette was my palette pull-in for this, kind of this round. I just recently finished it. I was taking forever to finish this palette pull-in because I just never remembered it. I just never incorporated it into my looks. So for this look, I actually finished off the palette quite intentionally. I used the last 2 or 3 shadows, and I thought that they would pair nicely with the Whistler Snow Lodge. I love the soft sagey greens mixed with the browns for this look, and really with the Child and Whistler, it's kind of a theme across the board. Whistler also has a nice brown shimmer, which I added to the outer corner where the brown mats were living. So the same color, just a little bit of shine and sparkle over there. I also happened to use the Aurora Glow Kit for my highlighter, and I used the green highlighter, which you might be able to see in this video. I don't generally mention that, although I almost always have a highlighter on. I just thought it was fun to pair the green with this look. This is my kind of neutral look. It's neutral with a pop of color, and I really like it. I finally got my hands on the Muse palette from Cosmic Brushes. I did the pre-order, I don't know, a month or 2 ago, and it finally arrived. This was my first look using the palette. I paired it with a Toucan Do It Creme Gel Liner from ColourPop in my waterline, and then on my lips I'm wearing the NYX Butter Gloss in the shade Cinnamon Roll. I thought that this palette performed exactly as I was expecting. It gives really soft, subtle looks, a little bit pared down in general. The mattes are beautiful, they're blendable, they're very easy to work with. They tend to stay where you put them and then work from there. They don't blow out too much, and the shimmers, of course, are quite sparkly. There's one shimmer in here that's a little bit more downplayed, but the rest I think are a bit more sparkly. I'm really enjoying these muted tones. I think Muse is like the soft, older, more somber and mature sister of the Serenity palette. It's a very beautiful palette and color story. And by the way, I did not have any creasing by the end of the day with this look. I tend to have creasing with Serenity, but so far I haven't had creasing with Muse. And finally, for look number 8, I used the Tropicolor palette again from Sydney Grace. This time I paired it with the Orchid You Not palette from ColourPop. From ColourPop, I also used the Creme Gel Liner in the shade Boots, which is a hot pink. Then I used the Glowing Lip Candy Kisses and topped it with the shade Smirk. I thought that this look was like the younger, brighter sister of the previous look. Like similar color story, just a little bit brighter and happier, a little bit more awake. Of course, I love the Sydney Grace quality. Then I used the Orchid shadows to bring some berry to the outer corner and the lower lash line. I took the Tropicolor pink shimmer and I added that to my lower lash line as well. And I'm always impressed by the white that I put on my inner corner. The shadow is called Coconut, and it's a satin, I think. It's not true matte, it's not true shimmer, it's somewhere in the middle. It is so pigmented. It's not a pure white. It has a hint of ivory in it, but it's really pigmented, and it makes a great inner corner highlight. I loved the lower lash line on this look. I thought it was so beautiful. And then I used the Orchid palette as a blush as well. I've been experimenting with blushes a little bit. I'm finding that I really like pinky or peach sort of blush colors as opposed to reds or purples. I don't know. So I thought that using the Orchid You Not palette would be a fun way to bring that sort of shadow from my lids down onto my face as well, but always in a very subtle way. There you go, guys. That is my most recent while I was out. Usually these videos have 10 looks in them. I think I did one that had 11 looks. Today's video has only 8 looks, but they're all so lovely. Hopefully you enjoyed them. Don't forget to comment below. Tell me what your favorite looks were. I numbered them for your convenience, and I hope you have enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for being with me here today. I'd love it if you consider subscribing before you go. Hit the like button because it shows YouTube that you're enjoying this content, and I will see you guys again very soon in my next video. Bye!